Okay, today we're going to study multiplying decimals by whole numbers. So, objective, pretty obvious, decimals and whole numbers. Steps are the same as multiplying decimals by decimals. So we're going to go ahead and get right started. So make sure you have your foldable out and you already have the steps, so you don't need to write them. And just write the example in some of the space on your foldable. Now, this says 3 times 14 and 2/10. Again, like we talked about yesterday or last class, their multiplication is commutative. So you can switch the order around. And it's easier to have the longer number on the top so that you only have to deal with one, for this problem, one place value when you're multiplying. So that's how we're going to set up our problem. 14 and 2/10 multiplied by 3. Now remember, it doesn't matter if you do 14 and 2/10 times 3 or 3 times 14 and 2/10. So that, forget that, don't worry about it. Okay, and never forget to estimate. So I'm going to estimate here. 14 and 2/10, that's probably 14 times 3, well 3 is 3, so that'll be easy. 3 times 4 is 12, carry the 1, 3 times 1 is 1, so that's 4. So it's around 42. So we don't want to get 4.2, we don't want to get 420, we don't want to get 4,020, we want to get something near 442. So now go ahead and multiply just like usual. 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 4 is 12, carry the 1, 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. Not 426, something near 42. How many decimal places do I move? Well, I noticed I have one decimal place here and none in the bottom. So I only have to move it one place, which would make sense with our estimate. Our answer is 42 and 6/10. So it should look very familiar to you. Now, sometimes annexing zeros can be something you need to do. So we're going to do a problem where you're going to need to annex a few zeros. So again, 2 times, let's see, this is, I got to read it. It's always hard to read these long ones. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So 2 times 18 thousandths. And again, I'm going to use my smarts and say, oh, I can do it in any order I want. So I'm going to go ahead and put 18 thousandths on top of our 2. And estimate. Alright, again, like the other class, this 18 thousandths is super small. And so it's anywhere between 0 and 1. So you have to keep that in mind when you're trying to use your estimate later. So this is either 0 or 1. So let's put 1. So it's either 1 times 2 or it's 0 times 2. So it's anywhere from something smaller than 0 to 2 or maybe even a little before 2 or more than 2. So we have to be careful on our estimate. It's only a guide. It's not an answer. I forgot to label it. Estimate. There we go. All right, so let's do the multiplication problem and see what we get. 2 times 8 is, let's see, 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 1 is 2, 3. 2 times 0 is nothing, nothing. Okay, 36. Well, 36 is not the right answer. So I've got to figure out how many place values because it's going to be very small. We've already discovered that in our estimate over here. So I'm going to go ahead and analyze what I've got. I've got a tens place, a hundreds place, and a thousands place, and nothing down here. So I have to move my decimal 3 places. 1, 2, 3. Make sure you fill in your place value holder, that's 0, and we always formally put 1 in the front of the 0 so it's not just hanging out there. So your answer should be 36 thousandths. So don't forget to annex your zeros. Make sure you're showing your word clearly so you don't miss one. Next, we've got a word problem. And remember to always be on your game when you're reading word problems because I like to pick different kinds. So let's go ahead and start reading this. A batch of trail mix calls for 1 2/10 pounds of dry cereal. Lucy is making 5 batches of trail mix. She already has 2 2/10 pounds of cereal. How many more pounds of dry cereal does she need? So in this problem, you need to think about how many more pounds does she need. They have this word more here, which can be tricky. She already has 2 2/10 pounds. So I want to know how many more should she buy. Well, how am I going to figure that out? I'm going to go to the store and I want to look at the thing and say, okay, I have 2.2. How much more do I need to grab? Well, I probably need to know how much cereal does she need altogether. So first I have to think about how much cereal, oops, she needs. So I need to know how much she needs. And then after that, I can figure out how much more she needs. So we've got 2 different questions to answer in this one problem. So be careful, a lot of times in middle school we have more than one question to answer in a word problem, which is why they get harder for people. So let's figure out how much cereal she needs. Well, back to the problem again. So let's analyze it. It calls for 1 2/10 pounds of dry cereal, and she's making 5 batches. So she's going to need this 1 2/10 pounds 5 times. So I said times, I know I need to do times. So 1 2/10 times 5. And we can go ahead and do our estimating. 1 2/10 is about 1. 5 is 5. So our estimate is about 5. So let's see, 5 times 2. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the math. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 1 is 5. Carry the 1. So that's 6. And I need to move it 1 decimal place. So she needs 6. And I'm going to label that because the more you label, the less you get lost. She needs 6 pounds total. Careful, a lot of people will stop there because they're robots. No, you're not a robot. You know that we want to know how much more pounds of cereal does she need. So I know that if I've got 2.2 pounds and I need 6 pounds. So now how am I going to figure out how much I need? Well, subtract. I already have some, so I'm going to take it out of my total. So 6 take away 2.2 pounds. Remember to switch your brain to subtraction. Notice how I wrote it kind of funny. That's because I know in my brain that I'm going to have to line up the decimals because I'm changing to a whole different operation. So now I'm going to go ahead and annex that 0 so that I have something that looks a little neater. And go ahead and subtract. So 0 take away 2, I have to borrow. 10 take away 2 is 8. 5 take away 2 is 3. And we're still in the ones place. So we need 3 8/10 pounds of cereal. That's how much more we need. And go ahead and write your sentence, and then you're done. So she needs 3 8/10 pounds of, oops, I forgot more. See, that was the key word. Let me erase here. She needs 3.8 more pounds. More pounds of cereal. So watch out for those problems that are multi-step. Think about what you need to know first before you just go straight for that answer. And then your homework tonight, page 34, here are the numbers, should be on the backboard as well. But make sure not to forget your estimation. I need to see that you're actually doing that in your work, or I won't give you credit. And don't forget, all word problem answers should be written in sentence form. 4 points are going to be deducted from your assignment. Get to work.